Hello and welcome back to the channel, guys. Now today's topic, if you're anything like me, you have a vision for the future of things that excite you. Maybe one day you'd like to have a Porsche, or you'd like to have your dream home, or you'd like to go on your dream vacation. But for some of you, if you're anything like me, or if you're fiscally responsible, like I hope you are, when that time comes, you actually start to get a little apprehensive. You start to feel almost nervous about making this decision or buying something you've been planning to buy all along. You have this like pre-buyer's remorse. So today I want to talk about when is it right to splurge and spend on yourself and treat yourself, and when is it really not the best idea. Time to think like an investor. So recently, guys, something came to my attention because I had a client, okay? We'll call him Jordan for now. And Jordan came up to me one day and he essentially said, who actually didn't really come up to me, he actually just emailed me. He essentially said, you know, Josh, you know that I'm a car guy. I know that you're a car guy. We both enjoy cars. But now I'm finally at the stage of life where I feel like I can afford a nice one. I feel like I've actually worked hard enough that I'm making enough that I can actually get one of those cars I dreamed about having. But now I just feel kind of guilty. At this point, I thought I would actually feel happy and I'd feel successful and feel ready for it. But now that I can afford it, I'm kind of having second thoughts. I'm kind of feeling apprehensive about the whole thing. And to me, this struck really close to home because, as you guys might know on this channel, I just moved into a brand new apartment. And for me, this is like probably by far the nicest apartment I've ever personally lived in and paid for. And when I, even as a financial advisor, was making the choice to get into this building, I had to run the numbers like 100 times, and I had to do the math over and over and over, and I had to think hard because I wasn't actually sure if I could do it. And for some reason, the math showed over and over again that it was very easy. Today, I want to walk you through, as a financial advisor, the tools that I use for myself or for someone like Jordan who wants to finally achieve some big goal and determine, should I be comfortable taking this step or buying this thing that I've always wanted to buy? So Jordan makes about $100,000 every single year. Good for him, that's fantastic. And he actually already has about $90,000 invested. He's about age 30, I can't quite remember, but he's around the age of 30. And he's also putting away $1,000 every single month. So every year he adds another $12,000 to his investments. That's fantastic, okay? Now, one thing about Jordan's situation is he has one more pressing goal that's much larger to him than just going and buying a nice car. He wants to move to a new neighborhood within the next 2 years, and we've already done the math. We know that he needs to be putting away about $500 a month or $6,000 a year in order to make that happen. So there's a little bit of background here, there's a little bit of context, but what you need to understand is that the car that he wants to buy is going to be $1,000 a month, and that's no small deal, okay? But his current one costs about $500. So to make that upgrade, there would be a net difference in his budget every month of $500. So he's going to be spending $500 every month in addition to what he's already paying just to have this extra car. Does it make sense for him to do that? But first, before we get into any of that, I need to make something very clear. Every single person is going to have a different philosophy on gratification. Delayed gratification versus immediate gratification. You know, I know people very close to me who, let's say, had a parent pass away. And for them, living to 50 might not be a guarantee. In their mind, it's very possible that life could end sooner than we expect. But I also have like hyper-rational people that I hang out with, and they think, well,
I'm probably going to live to 84 because that's life expectancy in my country, and thus I should plan for a future where I live to 84, and therefore I should delay all gratification because then maybe I don't have to work for my whole life, and I can spend those years from 50 to 80 enjoying myself.
Or something of that sort, right? Everybody is going to have a different mix. Maybe you put 10% of your energy into enjoying yourself now and 90% of your energy into delaying gratification and investing and enjoying things later. Or maybe you're the opposite, okay? So we need to take this with a bit of a grain of salt because there is a lot of personality involved, but I wanna give you a baseline. When is it okay to splurge given your situation, and when is it a really bad idea? So my question for you as a financial advisor is, first and foremost, it almost goes without saying, you cannot be splurging unless you have an emergency fund. And that might sound so corny and whatever, but it's very important. You don't really understand how important that is until you need it. It's like, you don't really know that you needed a house insurance until your house is on fire, and then you need it really, really badly, right? So if you've gone through a period in life where everything falls apart at once, maybe your car breaks down and you have a massive vet bill because your dog ate something, and now your roof is falling apart in your house, and whatever's going on, there's all sorts of things that come crumbling down at once. and now you have to come up with the money to pay for all those things. Does it make sense to have splurged on something without already having an emergency fund in place? That absolutely makes no sense, okay? So first, before I get into any of the other numbers about investments and all these sorts of things, you need to have at least 3 months worth of expenses stuffed away, invested somewhere, where it's accessible and easy to get to in the event that you need that money in an emergency. But anyways, let's move on to the actual exciting stuff. Now here's part 2, which is a little bit arbitrary, but it gives you the kind of idea of what we're trying to think about before we splurge, okay? Here's the big question. Can your investments and your regular contributions that you're making to them get you to a point at age 55 where you can completely replace your income? The reason I come up with that kind of idea is that if we're going to splurge in the moment, we have to also make sure that the future is being taken care of as well, or else our conscience is going to start to beat us up. Sure, we have a nice Audi that we're driving around, but we have no retirement funds and we have no emergency fund. That's going to make you feel like a loser. Deep down inside, it's fun to pull up to the place with a new car, but at the end of the day, you know deep inside that your finances are a mess and you're just doing this to show off. It's like you're signaling because there isn't really any wealth or money to back that up. So we need to know, am I investing? Am I saving enough that it's warranted for me to splurge? So that's the big question. Can I invest enough to replace my income at 55? So what I'm gonna do with you now is run through Jordan's numbers and see what the conclusion we came to. Was it right for him to splurge or was it not? So what we're gonna do now, guys, is we're gonna run through Jordan's situation financially using a time value of money calculator, and we're gonna find out if this is a good or bad decision. And if you're into finance and you wanna learn more about investing, learning how to use a time value of money calculator, so important. But let's just review some context. Again, Jordan's 30s, making 100,000 bucks a year. He's got 90,000 invested, so let's even just start plopping that in. He's put away $90,000, and we know that he's already putting away $1,000 a month, or that's equal to $12,000 per year. So we already have some inputs here. He has a short-term goal of buying a house, but he's already taken care of. That's kind of separate. He's already putting money away for that. And the car he wants is going to be $1,000 a month, which is $500 more than his current car. Now, all of this being said, he has $1,500 every single month in what we call free cash flow. In the budget, after all his income and expenses, there's still like $1,500 a month that either just goes towards gambling or having fun or traveling or whatever, right? So if we think about this, okay, what if we take $500 a month of that and put it towards the new car? That means we would have an additional $1,000 every single month to invest. So instead of just investing $12,000 a year, let's say Jordan buys the car and invests the difference of all the money that he has available. That means we're gonna have actually, in reality, $24,000 per year that he can save. He already has $90,000 put away. So the question, the answer we're trying to get at here is this okay? Should he feel okay doing this, splurging on this car? Well, what we're gonna try to solve for is the future value, okay? What does he get to in the future if he keeps investing this way? And if we think about it, what's an annual rate of return we can assume for Jordan? Well, he's a pretty aggressive investor. He's a young guy, he's sophisticated. And I would say a good conservative guess would be 7%. Let's think about using 7%. Now, the amount of time he's going to be investing for, well, he's 30 now, and we're gonna model this till 55. So that's 25 years. So what we can do now is we can find out how much is he going to end up with at 55, okay? And if we press this future value button, it'll tell us that. So, and let's actually even compound this at the beginning. Perfect, here we are. So what we find is that Jordan, this is amazing. He's gonna end up with like $2.1 million at 55, okay? So now the question is, can he replace his current income at 55 until 95, or whatever it might be, life expectancy, without working, okay? Let's even just use that number. Let's use 90. How does that sound? So we're gonna take this $2.1 million number and we're gonna make that our new present value. We're gonna assume now Jordan's 55 and we're gonna model out what it looks like to withdraw that money. So what did we say? 2112, we'll just round up there. He has about $2.1 million. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna solve for the payment instead, right? We're trying to figure out what is this gonna pay out. The future value is 0 because eventually we're trying to get him to age 90 where there is $0 left. He's spending it all to the last drop. Now, if you're retired, you need to take a little less risk in your investments. Maybe he can't get 7%. Maybe we can only expect 4 now. And now, okay, well, what's 90 years of age minus 55? That would be, oh my goodness, geez, this is just, and we're back. Sorry, I had to take a break to do basic mental math. He's gonna have 35 years from age 55 until 90. Thank goodness we were able to spit that out. So anyways, when I hit this payment button, it's gonna tell me how much Jordan can withdraw each year from his investments once he's 55. And what it turns out is he can actually withdraw $108,000 a year. We're not talking about government pension, we're not talking about work plans. All we're thinking is his own individual investments. He can actually replace his income at 55 by investing the extra $1,000 he has left over, and he can still buy the car, and he still has an emergency fund, and he's still putting money away for his house. You know what I mean here, guys? This is what I'm really trying to get at, right? What I'm trying to get at is every increase in your lifestyle, every time that you decide to maybe get a nicer car or a nicer house, the principle I'm talking about here is offsetting that lifestyle inflation with investments. You have to make sure that if you have lifestyle creep and your lifestyle expenses are going up, your investments are also going up, if not more than that. That's really the principle here. So in this situation, I sat down with Jordan and I sat down with myself and I was looking at this new apartment and I thought, can we replace our income at 55? And the answer for both of us was yes. So in that case, I actually do feel confident to say, Jordan, hey, you're insured, you got an emergency fund, you got a ton of money stuffed away, you're gonna achieve all your goals here, and you can actually maybe splurge in the moment on something you might want, so you don't have to just delay gratification forever. You can actually have some fun right now. So anyways, guys, is that the right financial decision? Like, no, the right financial decision is probably to take the bus, like sell the car, invest the difference, right? But investing and finance isn't only about all numbers, right? There is personality to this. There is real life involved in this thing, and it's not as it's always just has to be dollars and cents and the math has to be perfect. We also have to think about the softer things, like how does this affect our lifestyle? Can we have some fun now? So anyways, guys, the moral of the story here is that if there is some grand purchase you've been working towards forever, or you've had some dream for a very long time, you will get to the point where one day you can actually achieve it. And at that point, it's gonna get odd. You're gonna get this weird feeling of apprehension. Like, is this something I should do? You kind of feel regretful in advance. This is what I would say to anybody in that position. Are you doing what you need to do to be safe in the future if an emergency happens? Are you doing what you need to do to make sure that you're insured if something terrible happens to your income or your assets? Are you saving enough to achieve your short to medium term goals, and can you replace your income at 55? Those are big asks. But I don't see any reason why, if you have checked all those boxes, you can't splurge a little and have a good time in the moment. Because who knows, there is a decent argument for the fact that maybe you don't get 85 years of life. Maybe it ends sooner. Maybe there is a rational basis to enjoy life a little bit earlier. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you got any value whatsoever, make sure to hit the like button below, hit subscribe, and turn on post notifications for more videos just like this one every single week. Until next time.